Again, I'm not going to say this in order to put myself on a pedestal, nor do I expect or even think that Igbos would give me any respect for this, pointing this out, as far as, coupling this with my martial arts achievement. And there's something rather disturbing about this, okay? I want you all to understand something right now, very clearly. The ideas of what Satan is comes from the pagan world. And the European pagans took ideas from African religions and mythology and so on and so forth. Okay? So, I'm going to tell you, even though it's going to make me look bad, I'm going to tell you it. When I talk about the leopard warriors, it does have links to pagan ideas which are considered satanic by Christianity. There, I said it. So, the warrior Ikenga. Now, this is the most common. Let me highlight this so you know I'm not just making this up. The Ikenga, meaning place of strength, is a horned Alusi deity found among the Igbo people in southeastern Nigeria. It is one of the most popular symbols of the Igbo people and the most common cultural artifact. Okay? So being a transcendent hero, as I've always claimed in African culture, especially my culture, well, a lot of martial arts comes from my culture. Voodoo and all this stuff comes from West Africa, comes from my culture and other, Edo and Ibibo and Ejans and Fulani and Yoruba and different West African, and Dogon and so on. Okay? This is where voodoo comes from. So, and then of course it traveled to, the islands, and the Creoles started doing it, and the Haitians and so on. But anyway, and of course white people eventually got their hands on it. Okay? All these, the people in charge believe things that come from Africa. They believe Egyptian ideas that come from Africa. They believe in Greek mythologies and secret societies which borrowed and stole ideas from Africa. Okay? Even the planet of Ikenga is Mars, the god of war. Has ram hoods, ram horns. His number is 3. His color is red. Remember when I told you people that Satan is associated with the color red and black, darkness and the color red. Okay? You have Masons drinking out of a skull, a plastic skull in the 32nd degree, I believe. This guy's holding a human head. He has a ceremonial knife. Okay? There's a reason I'm a great knife fighter, and we're not going to get into the genetic and spiritual reasons for these things. I'm going to stick to the environmental factors, which I give myself the most credit for. I don't say, well, I'm a great warrior because I'm genetically a great warrior, my ancestors were. I'm not going to take that route. I'm above that. But it is part of my culture to be a great warrior, to have a more profound understanding of the spiritual world than the people who stole the ideas and remade them to their liking. Okay? Now, it's not that I hate all cultures in the world but African cultures. But I have always maintained that all spirituality comes from Africa and the African peoples, who are arguably and most likely all of our ancestors. Now, and obviously, in my personal opinion, the more you went away from your, from the source of the religion, the more your religion became twisted and became different. Thus, the white man's twist, etc., etc. So, people forgot where these things come from. They forgot how to apply them properly. And when their groups of people disagreed with the existing priesthood, which was almost always tied into the people in charge, they moved away and did things differently. But anyway, and you see this everywhere. Why do you think there's so many? There are hundreds and hundreds of different Native American cultures. Why? Why, you might ask? Because of what I've just said. You sniveling. Anyway, well, not my viewers. Anyway, so I put this in the comments of this other video. I'm going to go to the title holder Ikenga, because a lot of you care about political power, okay? Where the leopard is. Okay, here we go. A superstructure usually also consists of references to animals. One prominent animal used on the title holder Ikenga figures is the leopard, Agu, the king of the animals, and an emblem of the political authority of a titled man. Now, there's a thin line between a leopard a panther, and a mountain lion. And there's a thin line between a mountain lion and a lion. Anyway, so as I move on, someone argued that a leopard is a panther, is a cougar, is a mountain. Well, you know, anyway. So going on, it talks about mermaids. Okay, mermaids came to fight for the Edo people, and many Ododo warriors rode on the backs of mammoths and crocodiles and sharks. Okay, it talks about camouflage. Where is this camouflage part? Here we go. For the first time, the use of green foliage camouflage was introduced by Ikenga and his warriors, so that they appeared as floating bushes on the sea until they came close. So camouflage comes from Africa. It might not come from where these people say it comes from, but it definitely comes from Africa, going back thousands and thousands of years. These people talk about mermaid. Everything you hear about white culture was talked about in Africa before it was in Europe. When you find Europeans in historical texts talk about these things, it is way the fuck, thousands of years later. Anyway, so where are we going? I think that's all I wanted to cover, really. I got some interviews for you in this video. I might have put the interviews first. I'm still making my mind. I really wanted to end my videos on the last video, but then this person came through with an interview at the last second, and I'm supposed to send this person the fucking questions right now. Fuck. Okay. Anyway, basically, to make a long story short, I think that I don't want to read this whole thing to you, but look up Ikenga. Wikipedia has a fairly good source. Look at their sources down here. Their sources are basically African Arts, Volume 21, Ume John, After God is Dibia, Volume 2, Ikenga in Traditional Society, IngerGuardianNews.com, and so on. So they have fairly decent references. Okay? And you see right here, establishments, Chuku Alusi Chi. Oh, I also want to talk about Chi. Okay? Key to Kung Fu, which is considered by many the root of all martial arts, is Chi. And thousands of years before Kung Fu, Chi was a word for the Igbo Uku culture, going back perhaps to 4,500 BCE, the Igbo Uku Empire, which was based on these sorts of things. Now here you have a wood carving of Ikenga. Remember, these are the most common artifacts. The ram horns. You have what looks like a woman right here with the breasts, right? I don't know for sure. And then down here you have what looks like a man. So this dual gender Baphomet arguably is a European representation of the Ikenga from Igbo culture. And we're not going to explore that anymore. And believe me, it brings me great pain and fucking just misery to fucking point this out. That these lowly dogs describe the devil in terms of my people's warrior culture. They try to connect to the devil in terms of my people's warrior culture. And these sniveling dogs and their Roman Mars, god of war. And then they'll turn around. You know, you will never hear a white person saying this. A mainstream white person saying, probably someone in a secret society somewhere, yeah. But they'll never come out and say, yes, all of our culture is based upon this stuff. Why do you think that is? I mean, for the same reason they'll never admit that I'm the top martial artist is the same reason that they will never admit that fucking this is where they get this secret society stuff. From West Africa and Northeast Africa. Nubia, Egypt. You know, they'll never admit that that's where they get alchemy and astrology and astronomy. And why won't they admit that? I mean, they will, you know, if they even go back before, you know, when they claim on record that these things started, they'll go to Sumer. Now, Sumer isn't exactly the most ancient culture in the fucking world. And it's a disgrace. Every time you hear crybabies, every time you hear weaklings talking about Sumer this, Sumer that, rest assured that they don't know what the fuck that they're talking about. Okay? Sumer didn't do a fucking single thing first. The idea that they did is beyond laughable. I mean, there's the anaconda, no, python. The python statue going back 70,000 BCE, not even in North Africa, it's in Central Africa. The python head. It's not even in Northeast Africa. It's like central fucking middle central, or left central Africa. Middle built kind of Africa. Okay? I mean, it is a fucking joke to think spirituality came from anywhere but Africa. And for a bunch of satanic dogs, remember, these are a bunch of magic car bitches. They don't know what they're talking about. The devil is not a goat-headed fucking being. The devil is a sniveling fucking human-looking dog. Well, not literally a dog, but you get what I'm saying. The devil, the angels look like us. Let us make them in our image. They look like us. The devil doesn't look like a fucking goat. He looks like us. These are lowly dogs who want to fucking make my culture look bad. They want to make Egypt look bad. So a bunch of secret society pagan bitches did it this way. And then when you look at psychiatry, what does psychiatry say? Remember when I go through the psych exam, right? One of the questions on it was, let's see, something about, you know, they talk about witchcraft. Let me just see if I can find this. Okay, basically, I'm going to find a part where it says witchcraft was used by people who were jealous of great transcendent heroes, not in those words. And they said that they needed to use chalk. Chalk was a symbol of purity, you know, and there's a chalk line being used when people die to this day in America. All this occult stuff goes back to African stuff, African culture. And occult means hidden. African culture was hidden in white culture, and fucking it was twisted by the white man, especially when they try to explain where it comes from. I mean, just complete lowly fucking scum. You know, when they finally get a hold, next you know they're going to try to say the Igbos are really white. Watch. You know, that's what comes next. You know, when they realize that this stuff goes back to West Africa, they're going to say, well, they were actually white people. And then, you know, before you know it, you know, they're going to kill all the black people and say there was never any black people. That's just a fucking myth. That's a conspiracy theory. But anyway, going on, where is this part? I know it's here somewhere, damn it. It's I'm telling you right now, it is fucking in here. Damn, I only got a couple minutes to find it. Afterwards, the owner also offers thanksgiving to his Ikenga for helping him achieve success, such as belief solely depends on their personal chi, represented by Ikenga, and the support, the consecration of kingsmen. So, you know what? You know, you think it's a coincidence how these people describe the devil just happens to be the most common artifact in Igbo culture. Wouldn't that make you want to go in on these bitches every day for the rest of your life? Grab these satanic dogs and beat the fucking shit out of them, and just beat them up again and again, bring them back to life and beat them to death again? I mean, come on. Just put yourself in my shoes. Anyway. It depicts the ideal young man, robust, wearing the warrior's grass skirt and holding a knife and severed human head. This pose used to be seen in warrior groups when they perform dances. So then they make, you know, the skirt a symbol of a fucking female, you know? They make it effeminate, and they say, well, women wear skirts. You know, so they mock your culture with all kinds of homosexual connotations, and they fucking, you know, these are lowly fucking dogs. There was no queers in this. You know, the woman and the man aren't combined in one. They are separated. Okay? These queers, combine them together. I mean, they're just complete fucking scum, okay? Just trust me on that. Now going to man, I only got like a minute and 30 seconds to find this fucking part. Here we go. Okay, numerous Ikenga, both the warrior and titled persons, have a row of pointed project flankings the head, usually three or another odd number on each side. Ikenga in the southern Igbo area have 3 knobs on a horizontal bar. Besides being associated with Ikenga, the number of 3 is associated with males throughout West Africa. This projection may stand for Nuzu, comb-shaped piece of chalk used in rituals. The native's chalk suggests purity and protection, is sometimes applied to the eyes and temples. High-ranking people need magical protection because they are often objects of envy, which is commonly expressed by witchcraft. So, when you see these sniveling pentagram-using bitches, and remember, the pentagram represents what? The goat head or the ram head. What do? What do they do? And notice the ram here is not depicted with curly fucking horns. It's straight up horns. Okay, so what do? They draw with a chalk a circle of protection. They got that from West Africa, and these sniveling racist white Satanists will never admit that. Ever. And why did they need protection? The transcendent hero. Because people were envious. And in psychiatry, it says, you think people are envious of you? Of your powers, and they're trying to use witchcraft to get in your head, when that is the religion of my people to think that, these cultural genocidal scum.